Flight 302 departed from New York to London on a calm, clear evening. The passengers were typical business travelers, families, and a few college students on their way to Europe. Nothing seemed unusual. Just after reaching cruising altitude, however, the plane experienced an unexpected turbulence, one so strong that the seatbelt sign flickered on and off multiple times. A thick, eerie fog seemed to engulf the plane. It was unlike any of the passengers or crew had ever seen. It clung to the windows, and the turbulence grew harsher until, suddenly, everything went still. The fog lifted, and Flight 302 continued on its path as if nothing had happened, but as they approached their destination, something strange happened. The pilot couldn't reach air traffic control, and the landscape below didn't match the coastline of England. After a while, a crackling came through the radio, a voice, faint and filled with shock. "Flight 302, is this a prank?" The crew was bewildered. The plane finally landed at an airport, but something was wrong. Hundreds of people had gathered at the runway, staring in disbelief as Flight 302 taxied to a halt. As the doors opened, the passengers and crew were greeted by a crowd of officials and airport security, looking stunned and emotional. The captain, puzzled and irritated, asked what was going on. An older man in a suit stepped forward. "Welcome back, Flight 302, he said slowly. "You disappeared 5 years ago." Silence blanketed the cabin. Passengers exchanged looks of disbelief, convinced it was a prank, until they saw the newspaper clippings the man handed them. Headlines blared, "Flight 302 mysteriously vanishes over Atlantic and search called off as hope fades." A woman in her early 30s, Claire, clutched her phone, whispering, "But it was only an hour. How could it be 5 years?" The man nodded sympathetically. "We don't know how or why, but you've been gone for 5 years. To you, it may feel like an hour. But out here, it's been much longer." One by one, passengers tried calling loved ones, finding strange voices answering their numbers or getting calls that simply wouldn't connect. But there was no denying the reality when they stepped out and saw family members older and changed, others in tears of disbelief. The press began to swarm the passengers, asking questions they couldn't answer. Scientists speculated, with some suggesting theories of time distortions or wormholes. Others called it a hoax. But Flight 302 remained a mystery no one could explain. As each passenger struggled to rebuild a life that had moved on without them, they couldn't shake the feeling of that fog. Some passengers even claimed they could still see it at night, hovering just out of sight, but whenever they closed their eyes, the fog seemed to pull closer, as if calling them back.